Aloha and welcome to Optimize Your Na'au podcast. The Na'au to us, something that we feel inside, right? We can see it, in our logo.
He describes himself as an exposed nerve. And sometimes I feel like that's how I am. Not that I'm like always angry, but that I'm always feeling. The first time I met them, I cried. That's how I introduced myself.
When I was young, my father passed away, and then my mom said we're moving to this foreign country. I didn't speak English. It was really scary, but it shaped who I've become. But like, what are you going to do? You're kind of at the mercy of the world sometimes, So you just go along with it, and then you're like, oh, that actually wasn't that bad. Like,
so you like the uncomfortability?
Yeah, that's a word.
Discomfort.
That is also a word. That is more common.
I wanted this until I didn't want this, but it's still hard, right? Because it is traumatizing.
So they think I'm crazy, but I wake up at 4:30 every morning.
Hey, you're crazy.
you are crazy. Can't confirm.
None of us
go
get
to bed
up
at
at 4:30. It gave me so much education on how important it is to move.
So I get to witness you guys like putting in work, like relationship work,
Definitely, yeah.
Aloha. I'm David Woodward, physiotherapist and owner of Nauupono Physical Therapy. And at my side today and every day is my wife.
Aloha, I'm Dara Chun Woodward, esthetician and owner of Aesthetics by Dara. And together we are Nauupono Wellness.
And welcome to Optimize Your Na'au podcast, where health optimization is through connection.
Our connection to each other has facilitated healing in and around us. We believe that so much healing comes from connecting with ourselves, our sources, each other, and our environment. This is what we call senative connection.
In this podcast, our guests share about their senative connections as we share our own individual journeys to health and resilience. Aloha and welcome to Optimize Your Na'au podcast here at Nauupono Wellness,
where health optimization is through connection. Aloha, everybody. I'm Dara.
And I'm David. And here today, our first guests, what we wanted to do was introduce our team, right? And as we all know, a successful business, and a successful group always starts with a solid core team.
Yes, and this is our core. These two have been with us from the very beginning, through good times, not so good times, and they're still here. So we're so grateful to both of them, and we're so happy to have them on our second episode.
Yep. So we're just going to do a quick, brief introduction and in a quick bio, if you will, and then we're going to have them actually talk a little bit more about themselves. So here we have Kevin, and he's just another Austrian chasing the American dream. He's a huge nerd with a fond appreciation for all things tech, spends most of the time behind the scenes, which we appreciate. And he loves his motorcycle, right? He says life's better on two wheels. That's his motto. And he absolutely loves his dog. So big shout out to Leo.
Yes, if you're watching, which it's not.
Yeah.
And we also have Luanna, who really is the brains of our operation here. She was born and raised on Oahu. She loves rocks and crystals from the ground and from outer space. She's a plant lady, and she also describes herself as David's Mjolnir. Mjolnir. Or as we like to call her, David's physical therapy assistant.
So before we move any further, I just want to hear a little bit more of just some background on, we'll start with Kevin, actually.
Yeah, share with us how, the story on how we magically met.
Yes. It was a long, long time ago. Actually, how long? No, it kind of was a while.
It was a
while ago. Skylar was our daughter, who's now 6 years old, was, I think she had just turned 1.
Okay.
Yeah.
How old is she now?
6.
6, yeah.
I'm going to be 7.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, I just, I was looking for bulletproof supplements, and you guys popped up. I was like, oh, that's
right.
awesome. Like, I didn't expect to have anyone out here that would actually sell the product. I don't think they were, like, in any stores at the time.
They weren't.
Yeah, we were there.
hard to get
we
a hold
were
of.
one of their first.
They weren't in Whole
in
Foods
Hawaii.
yet.
At least. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I was in college, and I was looking for a way to be more productive and kind of like focused, especially going to school full time and working full time. So that's how I stumbled upon the bulletproof diet, and then naturally that led me here. And I think initially it was just kind of like, oh, cool, like this is an awesome place, come in, buy my stuff. But like eventually it kind of progressed and was like, oh, hey, by the way, like I do like websites and some marketing stuff. So like if you ever need help, just let me know.
And we needed help. We needed a lot of help.
Things were growing pretty quick from the beginning, especially when we started implementing a background in biohacking. When we started bringing on Bulletproof, it was simply just coffee and brain octane. Yeah. And it was very minimal stuff. I just shared a picture with you folks
that's right.
where we started with, and it was literally just a shelf.
Yeah, some Nauupono t-shirts, coffee, brain octane, and I think that's it.
Very humble.
Maybe Unfair Advantage we had at that time.
Very humble beginnings. And what I will say too, though, when we started, kind of acquiring all these different vendors and, our different product lines, and even as well as our interest in tech, Kevin happened to stop in and when he was buying Bulletproof products, I remember him telling me, hey, did you know that you have a store?
Yes.
And I was like, no, this is not a store. I'm just here sharing things. He's like, no, it's a store. And so, I didn't really see it in the eyes of Kevin, where he comes with a very strong background in retail marketing and as well as website design. How everything just integrates seamlessly, or it can integrate very seamlessly, and so that's what we're very grateful for.
Yes, especially because we didn't have the perspective that you had as a customer.
True. Yeah.
Right. We were just thinking, oh, this is great. It worked for us, and we just want to share it. So whoever comes in, not thinking that we actually had the ability to reach out to more than people that were physically coming here. So yeah, that was.
And we're very used to, especially in Hawaii, sharing things word of mouth.
Oh, big time.
And it works really well. But for sure, Kevin has really showed us a way to really reach out to other people outside of, and just kind of show that we actually have things here or things that actually exist that can help.
That are people, very valuable, that people are actually really looking for.
You guys started it from such honest, and humble beginnings too, right? The intention was never to sell it to everyone on earth. It was just very target focused, helped us, it can help you maybe.
Yeah. So our website that exists today is all Kevin. And it looks so awesome.
Oh my gosh.
And it evolved so much, and it continues to evolve.
I don't think it's ever going to stop.
I don't think it's ever. And that's
keeping
the hope,
him busy on this,
right?
For sure.
Oh,
that's definitely the hope. And now we have, a true inventory system that we really try our best to stick to as we continue to grow the store and bring in new vendors and products and tech. Yeah. And it's helped us out so much just in our growth in such a short amount of time, really.
And I will say too, though, a lot of the things that, through the process of growing not just the inventory and marketing and even the website, we're learning a lot on our own, through the things that, that you've shared with us, even just the intricacies of social media and even just how it ties in and, with our website.
Well, it's kind of like how you treat patients, right? It's like a holistic approach.
No, that's good insight. Yeah, for sure.
You have to, otherwise it just... Yeah, I think you're doing a disservice if you only focus on only one thing, Right.
But honestly, that's why we appreciate you so much, because your perspective, right? Something as simple, I think as simple as releasing a package, right? We just released our Day of Healing, The name is still changing.
Yes.
But it's basically evolving,
right?
yes. But it's basically a day where, someone who is not an existing patient can come in, get a patient or customer, can come in, get a recovery facial, get a movement assessment by David, and then come and spend a few hours with us using all the tech.
Yeah.
And really it was such an intricate thing to put together, and thank goodness Kevin is here to help us put those things together where it's easy for the customers to call in, make a reservation, for us to keep an inventory on it, for people to be able to pay for it, which are things that David and I are not thinking of. We're just thinking of sharing our services and our tech with people, with customers. Yeah.
And one of the things I'm truly grateful for is just the attention to detail, and from Kevin, and just how honest, you want to keep things, and
it can be a blessing and a curse.
But integrity means a lot to you, and we truly appreciate that, and that's one of the core things about what we do here at Nauupono, and so it makes it very, very easy to work with you.
And I think, because when he first walked in, I remember he walked in with his helmet, because life is better on two wheels.
That's right.
And long red beard.
Long red beard.
Long college red beard.
But really you both just clicked right off the bat. And I think it's because of what you said, right? Is his integrity. And it was in alignment, with
it's not easy. You don't always
here.
find people that connect at the same, with the same values. And when you find that, it's hard to even look back, right?
Yes, absolutely. Which is the same for when Luanna walked in, and we really just magically clicked.
Yeah.
Right? So why don't you share with us what you remember?
Yeah, so I met you folks maybe a year or so after Kevin did, like in 2019, because I was in school as well. Because so the funny thing is, in 2017, I lost my job. The company that I worked for closed. And so it's like, what do? I go back to school. And you never imagine that you'd meet your future employer through your OBGYN. But at the time, Dr. Brad Sakaguchi mentioned a Dr. Woodward. He said, oh yeah, go intern there if you're interested in PT. And so 2 years later, I had to do some observation hours. And I remember David. I just cold called, hey, are you accepting students to do some observation hours? He's like, sure, I guess. Because I remember even back then, David was always busy.
No.
Always busy. And so the fact that he let me hang out in the waiting area, just to watch, and so unfortunately I never got to intern here when I was actually in the program, but they just can't get rid of me. I'm still here.
No, and really, it was such divine timing, right? With both of you walking in, right? But at that time, David's patient base was growing, exponentially, and he really needed help with keeping up with all the back end stuff, right? While he was treating patients.
But just the willingness to learn and grow, I really connected with that part. And, me and Dara are those type of people that, growing doesn't stop, right? Learning doesn't stop. And, what I appreciate a lot about Luanna is that, you have this drive, and it doesn't even matter, if it feels like it's within your,
comfort zone.
Yeah. You're willing to step outside that comfort zone to just get us there. And not only is that a team player thing, it just shows, like you said, integrity, of who you are as a human being. And, just adding that to our team just makes it that much easier and just stronger. I just feel a lot more confident with how we move every day. Right. And even in transitions, like us releasing this podcast or, doing posts on social media. Like we've never done these things before, but, the kinds of things that we're putting out there, I'm very grateful for. I'm very proud of. It's not something that I'm like, oh, we shouldn't have put that out. Everything that's come out, whether it be story or posts, you just stepped in there, when we needed you, and I'm super, super grateful. I mean,
yeah, and both of you folks, your willingness to help, but it's also one of the things I know that attracted you folks or us to you folks, but that's very attractive that we admire about you folks is just your passion to want to help people.
Yeah.
And, that is really, we admire that. And we so appreciate that. Because, like David said, we push a lot of boundaries here.
Yeah. In a good way, though.
And I will say, too, though, like, even when we have, outside help coming in, like we have friends that come in and help us out as well with other parts that move around here that we run, through our practice. And what's amazing is that, like, no matter who it is, whether it be my cousin or Tasha, right, which are amazing resources that really helped us to kind of build up our foundations. You guys have just seamlessly, kind of work with.
Adapted.
Just whoever we pull in, their expertise they're coming in with, you come in there and you're just like, yes, and you guys know how to raise all of us up, and that's a rare quality.
Yeah, absolutely.
No, it's a team effort. I mean, this is impossible to do alone, Yeah. But I think you guys also attract very like-minded people, so that helps tremendously as well. Yeah.
Well, we attracted you folks, and we're forever grateful for that.
For sure.
So,
for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I know the term kindred spirits is, it's a little corny, but like you feel it here,
Yes.
Yeah. So, which is what we're talking about.
Yeah.
So.
But honestly, honest to goodness, I feel like it's like that every day, when we're together. Like it's just, it just works.
Yep.
And that because, we've worked for other people.
Yeah.
Before we've worked with other organizations and other groups of people. And it's, it's challenging, right?
It can be, for sure, especially when our values feel questioned, or we question our values. Let me correct myself on that. Because there's different perspectives on how we would want to approach, X and Y, right? But again, we just appreciate how you folks have, really, connected with us on that part, right?
And stayed on this roller coaster ride with us.
Oh, it's not far from over.
Far from over.
I'm tall enough to ride, so.
Humor is a big part that we have here. So I just want to touch upon or start mentioning some of the things that Luanna just touched upon, where she was talking about or even pointing out exactly where it feels, right? And, if you folks have heard us mention this on numerous posts, and even within our last podcast, me and Dara briefly, had a mention on what our na'au is, right? And what we want to do is just kind of emphasize, what na'au would mean, right? And even in respect to our logo, me and my wife here had a conversation on what that meant. And it's interesting because, our original intention of how our logo is or was created, continues to evolve, and it evolves with us, and, the meaning behind it. My cousin, Kristen, was the one that helped design it, and the words Nauupono, were gifted to me by, a very gifted man, Nakala Yokepa de Santos, helped me to create this name that I was looking for, to really portray what we're wanting to, project out there, right? And our vision in helping other people, right? And what I will say is, the na'au to us is literally what Luanna was mentioning, something that we feel inside, right? We can see it, in our logo, right? And the koru itself, can signify so many different things. But I know a lot of it starts with not just our breath, but our life source. A piko, if you will, too, right? It's also the connection that we would want to make known. And it all ties in with the word that we're bringing up with how we approach healing, which is through connection, right? And so that is going to be the foundation of what our podcasts are all about, right? And with that being said, we have a few questions that we want to, just mention and then talk about with our initial guests here, and what we want to ask, and we'll start with Kevin. What does trusting your na'au mean to you?
I guess you could kind of attribute it to like a gut feeling of sorts, but I think it's deeper than that. That's more of like a internal, personal, like alignment of things, if you will. Like not just, I don't know, this feels weird, but like just an over-encompassing, like, I don't know. It's hard to put it into words, but it's a feeling.
Yeah. Like you're talking about, like when it feels right.
Yeah, you just know, that's gut feeling, yes. But I think it's bigger than that,
Well, but I mean, you are a very intuitive person. I know that's not how you would have described yourself.
Probably not.
Before, but getting to know you, us as intuitive people, you are a very intuitive person. I mean, from the moment we met you, that was very clear. Both of you, yeah.
Yeah, it became very clear over the years too that like that's a feeling you should definitely lean into and trust. Yeah.
I think it might be something also that's more than just what you're feeling inside. Sometimes people hear. And again, it can be viewed as an intuitive thing as well. They can literally hear the voices, not to sound weird or crazy, but
no, it's true.
I mean, it is. It's like, you're not just hearing random voices sometimes, but sometimes
you feel a confirmation,
right?
You hear a confirmation, right. You just intuitively know. You don't know how you know, you just know. Yeah.
Sometimes it's like even just this, like there's no other option. This is it. You know what I mean? Which I feel like na'au-wise, trusting that is what created what we have here. Like it just felt right and it felt ready.
Yeah.
No, I hear you on the alignment part. I really connect with that.
Yeah. So Luanna, how do you trust your na'au?
So I'm like a gut person to begin with, because you mentioned hearing voices, and me and Kevin were just talking about how I have aphantasia, which was like a buzzword during COVID time. But basically, I don't have an internal voice in my head. I don't visually see anything. Like I can't imagine things. And so like everything, that's how I receive everything. And I feel like, Bruce Banner, he describes himself as an exposed nerve. And sometimes I feel like that's how I am. Not that I'm like always angry, but that I'm always feeling.
Yeah.
So.
Wow.
Yeah.
And so this is something I didn't mention in the beginning, but one of the things that we really appreciate about you from the beginning is how open you were.
Transparent,
from the very beginning.
The first time I met them, I cried.
No, yeah,
that's how I introduced myself.
We were literally just talking about that. Yeah.
But it was so honest.
It was real
and open.
Yeah.
And it gave us, honestly, that gave us feedback too, right? That truly this is a safe place, and it is okay to share. But but I don't, I know you said it, we so appreciate that, because that's how we are too, right? Very feeling people. And, that I think that really what solidified the connection at first.
And I will say, I really do appreciate the Marvel references.
I have to make them because they're wrong.
That's true.
Mjolnir. Yeah. Yeah.
I try.
Can you tell which one doesn't listen or watch Marvel? Anyway.
No judging.
Yes, safe space.
Yes.
Safe space.
Thank you.
Unless you're a DC fan.
Although Superman is great.
Batman's pretty cool too.
Okay.
Yeah. All right, well settled.
Okay. So, what's interesting is like we're able to describe what trusting our na'au means, but I would also want to know like what kind of experiences have you folks went through that have challenged trusting your na'au? Start with Kevin.
Well, I was born in Austria, so when I was young, my father passed away, and then my mom said we're moving to this foreign country that I didn't speak English or anything like that. So it was really scary, but it shaped who I've become, and I think that, like, obviously hindsight, 2020, but as I got older and I've come across more of these like experiences where like I kind of question things or things like that, like what's always happened in the end is like things just work out, and like things will just work out, like everything will be okay, tomorrow sun will shine again. So I think there's been multiple of those situations where like I question it, but like what are you going to do? You're kind of at the mercy of the world sometimes, so you just go along with it, and then you're like, oh, that actually wasn't that bad, like it worked out okay. And yeah, just many of those instances have helped reaffirm my belief that I should just lean into that feeling and go with it,
I mean, we hear you on that, especially
sure.
the boundaries that we push here, right at Nauupono. Hey guys, let's do a podcast next week. And
let's do it.
It wasn't a week.
It was 2 weeks.
Yes.
We gave them 2 weeks to get ready. But that is one of the characteristics about you. I think that, I really admire. I mean, you really are like grace under pressure.
I actually seek out discomfort. Like that's my comfort zone, is being uncomfortable. It's really interesting. It's like I will purposefully put myself in those situations. Like, I mean, I've never done a podcast before, but I was like, can't be that hard,
So you like the uncomfortability.
Yeah, that's a word.
Discomfort.
That is also a word. That is more common.
So you like to be put under pressure.
Yeah, and I tend to do well under pressure. And maybe that's just because of like how my life has kind of shaped my, view on things, philosophy and things like that. It's just moving to America was such a huge shock. Anything after that, like, really wasn't that bad.
No.
Like when you're immersed, and I'm just playing immigrants, they can attest to it, when you're immersed in a country and like you have zero options but to adapt.
Yeah.
And if you don't, like, yeah.
And you were a child.
I was, yeah. I still am, honestly. But
So what was the easiest way for you to learn the language?
Literally just, I went to an English learner school, but I mean, no one spoke German there. So it was literally, I sat in the classroom and I cried for like a few days straight. Eventually I just started, piecing the language together. And obviously they have very elementary type, like first grade, kindergarten kind of workbooks that they give you, right? So you can start off with that and eventually you progress. That's funny. I remember the story. My teacher, I think it was in elementary school. I may have been in 5th grade. We had to write something. I found this like 5+ years ago. Somehow I came across it, but it was like a letter I wrote in class. She was an assignment that she gave out. And I remember this because when I brought it up to turn it in, she like announced to the whole class that like, this was so good, this was so perfect. And like, I don't natively speak English, but when I reread that letter like 5 years ago, I was like, oh my God, this is horrible. Like, this is so broken. It was very nice of her to boost
Right.
my ego
But
like
in
that.
that moment, right, she gave you that
sure.
confidence that
Yeah,
you needed
she was a
to
good teacher.
continue. And I mean, honestly, I couldn't tell when we first met you, I couldn't tell that English was not.
Good. I try to blend in.
Certain words like after.
After, yeah. Choppa.
It's the A's. It always
The TH too.
Oh, okay.
Like in the.
The.
How do you Americans say it?
It's
The?
interchangeable.
Unless it's Megan the Stallion.
It's more like a D for us.
And if it's pigeon, duh.
Duh. It's more like the German version. Yeah.
Da.
Duh.
And I should also mention all of our mouths are blue because we all have methylene blue. We just pop them in our mouths.
Yeah.
Just before we started.
Just before
yeah.
we started this podcast.
Get a little boost, in mitochondrial function.
It helps significantly.
No, for sure.
Especially because we are under these bright lights. I mean,
Yeah.
it is what it is when we're filming something, but it does. It helps. It helps with our mental clarity and our energy.
Yep.
So yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so Luanna, on to you.
So this is the when when trusting the Na'au was challenged, right?
Yes.
Yep.
So like as an adult, so several years ago, I went through a terrible breakup. And they say like you can't choose your family, but I'd been like absorbed into another person's family. Not against my will. I mean, obviously it's going to happen. But after that breakup, I realized like the whole time that I'd been fighting to stay someplace that I actually didn't want to be.
Yeah.
And like, I guess when there's the only people that know what goes on in a relationship are those two people. But there's always going to be the outside influences. And, you like fight to stay with that one person. But sometimes it's just impossible because of the outside influences. And you don't realize how much weight you're carrying until it's gone, So like it happened and I was like, hey, you guys, I lost 200 pounds.
But it's never comfortable
No.
to just let go of that.
Yeah.
Right. I think that is really something that people struggle with. Like, I wanted this until I didn't want this, but it's still hard, right? Because it is traumatizing when you have been so when you attached yourself to something for so long, and you tried with everything in your being to want it or to convince yourself that it's okay, that it's good for you, and then when you realize that it's not, it's actually pretty traumatizing because now you're like, well. Now what?
Yeah. And like
now what do I do?
things can't feel right conditionally, because that means it's not right.
Yes.
And it takes a while to realize that, so yeah.
Yeah.
I had to learn that as a 33-year-old lady.
We're still learning that.
Oh, for sure.
We are still learning that. Yeah. I think, in our 30s too is when we had a really bad breakup. Not David and I together, but with family ties, and God, that was traumatizing.
For sure. It's a huge shift.
Yeah. It is. It's a huge shift, and it's it's that part where it's conflicting, where it's supposed to look a certain way, but it feels so toxic, and removing yourself from that is not the easiest thing. Yeah. Oh, thank you both for sharing that.
Sharing and being transparent, vulnerable.
Oh, yes.
So, do you guys have any daily practices that you guys like to do? And, if so, what are those daily practices that you feel that you connect with?
Yes, my dog and I sunbathe together in the morning.
This is very true.
This is
I was
very
hoping
true.
that you would say this.
I haven't done as much as I would have liked to recently, but I just really enjoy being outside in the morning, especially in the sun. And so does my dog. Like he'll just lie on the brick there because it's nice and warm. And it's just nice to be outside, not connected to, the internet. Well, I have my phone on me, but, I don't feel like I'm plugged in. I feel like I can just kind of like be in nature without like going too far off the property.
Yeah.
But no, it's really nice to spend time with my dog. He's like my kid, and he's getting older, and, so are we. And unfortunately, dogs don't outlive us. So just trying to make the most of it because, couple years ago. I was so busy with work, and I was always commuting into town. Like, my dog just lived with my parents out on the west side, and I barely saw him. That really sucked. I didn't like that, and it wasn't fair to him either. So, yeah, so I just, as much as I can, weather permitting, but even if it's drizzling, we'll try to go out a little bit and just hang out with him.
And he just adores you.
He loves Sarah much more, but he's a mama's boy for sure.
No. But it's very, not just sweet, but it's just very, I admire that, actually, like the kind of relationship that you guys have. Like I remember when he invited us over, I think it was for your birthday party, right?
My Dirty 30, yes. Yeah. The Pokemon pool party theme, yeah.
Yes. His dog is so good, and he's like watching all of us that are in the pool.
Oh, yeah, he was a lifeguard. He was,
so he was very
especially
concerned.
Because our kids were in the pool.
Yeah,
right.
He
was very concerned that our kids were in the pool.
One of the most unique dogs I have ever met.
Yeah, he is very unique. I've had the pleasure of sharing my life with a few dogs, but he's special. Yeah, he's
got
different.
Personality for sure.
Just odd, It's just something about him is just odd, but in a good way.
He's so genuine.
Yeah, he really is.
Yeah.
His eyes, I can never I don't forget his. You look at his
big,
eyes,
his anime, cartoon eyes. Yeah,
always twinkling.
Yeah.
What about you, Luanna? What are your daily practices, or just something that you want to share with that you feel like you connect with every day?
So they think I'm crazy, but I wake up at 4:30 every morning.
Okay, you're crazy.
You are crazy. Can't confirm.
None of us
go
get
to bed
at 4:30. By the way,
just Luanna. But it's still dark when I wake up. I also have a dog. She jumps onto the bed. She crawls onto my body, wakes me up, or she's shakes me, make sure I'm awake. Then that's it. She just has to say hello and she leaves. But it's still dark, and so I get to see the sun come up. I get to greet the day every day.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
Like that.
Yeah.
I used to ride out to Sandy's occasionally and catch sunrise.
When was this?
That was when I would stay up.
Yeah.
At
when
night,
you hadn't gone to sleep yet.
But now he's 30.
Yes.
So
I can not do that as much.
yeah.
But isn't it peaceful?
Yeah.
In the morning, I feel the same way at night. That's why I like to work at night. No one's awake. No one's going to bother you. Right? Same thing with the early mornings.
Yeah.
Except for some of the people that are up in the middle of the night that bother you.
Yeah.
Well, it's not perfect, but
Yep. Well, thank you.
We should try that.
Get up in the morning.
Get up in the morning and watch those.
take kids with you.
Maybe once.
Maybe once.
Once or twice.
Try it once.
No, but that's beautiful.
Yeah.
That is, to greet the day that way.
Yeah.
It is,
Yeah.
I know part of our daily practices revolve around, greeting the day in a different way. We do some affirmations in the morning.
In the bed.
Yeah. It's still affirmations.
You're right.
It still counts.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah, we do a lot of guided meditations too, as well. Just to kind of assist us in the day. We love listening to a lot of guided meditation stuff. If you folks are familiar with Bob Proctor,
Yeah,
right? He has a lot of everything that revolves around abundance, right? And which is why we feel like I feel like we're leading a pretty abundant life. There's nothing that we can complain about, really.
Yeah.
And it's a mindset, right? For sure, about how we greet our day, and whether it be a sunrise in the morning, or sunbathing with your dog. It sets the tone for your day, right? And whatever gets you to that day, it's always going to feel right in your now, right?
Yeah, especially during chaotic times. It's like something you can cling on to, that helps ground you.
Well, and, one of the things, for both of you in your morning routine is that solitude, right? Being by yourself, that I don't think a lot of people really appreciate or give themselves that time of solitude to just be with yourself in quiet, unplugged, like how you said. Yeah.
Well, even as married couples too, You know, in our respect, having the time alone is important. You know, as much as it is together. You know, it's a way of connecting with yourself, right? Before you can, you know, provide the best version of yourself for someone else, right?
Yep.
It's a good way to check in.
Absolutely.
Okay. So, how does your role at Nauupono Wellness optimize your now, Kevin?
Well, I think it's very much about who you surround yourself with. So, you know, I come from like a couple different backgrounds. I have like friend groups in like different areas, you know, but like I think here especially, it's like it's a place where I enjoy being, and it's the most beneficial as far as like, you know, longevity and wellness and stuff like that. Like just how passionate you guys are about like getting on the right path, staying on it, and, you know, continuing to make progress. Like I really admire that, and like it rubs off. So I think, I mean, yeah, just being part of the team, like you're immersed in all this stuff, right? Like it's pretty cool, and like it's very helpful.
Yeah, there's not so many places you can pop a methylene blue in your mouth and
or get in a chamber, or you know, like
right.
Yes.
I mean, it's a really cool place to be.
Have your nano V on while you're doing your computer work.
For sure. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah, it's a really cool space, really awesome people. Not just you guys, but people that come in here too.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, like,
our customers, our
clients,
they're the best. You
Yeah.
know. Shout out to our Nauupono
everyone.
clients.
You know who you are.
Patients.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. What about you, Luanna?
For me, it just feels like a privilege to be here. Like watching you guys like every day. It's so fun, you know? Like even if the day gets so crazy, you know, like seeing how you guys handle things, and like if I have a small part in getting the day done, you know?
No, you have a huge part.
No, for sure.
A huge part.
Yeah.
But you know what I mean. You know, like
No, really. I mean, because technically, right, David brought you in to help him, and Luanna helps me with my laundry.
which is my favorite chore, by the way.
No, but finding somebody that actually loves to do that stuff. No, really, right? Like,
yeah, no, but you know, this
awesome.
is definitely worth mentioning. I mean, for you folks, I feel, I mean, when you think about it, we really haven't known each other that long, right? But for you,
But I've been on 2 family vacations with you guys.
yes,
you have.
going on 3. Going on 3.
I have my inaugural one this summer.
Yes.
Big deal.
Yes, we're all going to the biohacking conference in June, and
In Orlando.
yes, as a family, as one big happy family, and we're so excited. But really, you know, for you folks to just pick up on tasks and doing things without us even asking, because honestly, you know, we're not even thinking, right? And we're so grateful for that. I mean, it happens every single day that you folks are here. Like you folks just pick up on doing things that we just don't even think about.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it helps out so much. Yeah. You folks are so valuable here.
Yeah.
I can't say it enough.
Well, it's a very symbiotic relationship. Like, you know, I like where I'm at in life. I don't know what it would be like if I never met you guys, you know. So I'm very grateful too.
Yeah, I can't imagine where I'd be right now. I'd be at some like boring clinic.
And we can't imagine what this place would be or not be if it weren't for you folks. So, you know, you folks really helped us to get through, we'll just say years 2019-ish to 2021-ish. Right? And that was challenging for us. And honestly, you know, you folks were a huge part in helping us to continue on.
Yeah, it was an interesting time.
It was. It was.
Well, let's do a little switching gears here.
Okay.
Are we shifting up or down?
We are shifting where we should shift.
Understood?
This is pretty much how all our conversations go.
Definitely.
And multiple movie quotes.
Yes.
We haven't laughed
Different
quite
genre.
enough yet. So.
Yeah,
during right now.
No one's cried laughing yet.
or talk
Snorting.
or spoken quotes.
Snorting. Yeah. Spoken quotes for sure. Yeah. But what is something unexpected that you learned about us?
About the two of you guys?
Sure.
Yes.
Or is it the plant and the microphone?
Sus. I'm surprised like how like you guys function as a very cohesive unit. And like you guys are so aligned on your goals and trajectories, like it's really remarkable. And I don't think that's prevalent too often in society nowadays. Like you guys just function as a whole unit so well. Family units, like when we're on trips, like your parents too, like everything just fits and works. And it's really, I admire that. And like that's something I would want to replicate as well. But yeah, it just surprised me like how aligned you guys are.
Thank you.
And continue to be. And yeah, no, for sure.
Yeah.
It's like you guys finish each other's sandwiches.
Sandwiches.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we do. It's a conversation. We have conversations every day, about.
Yes, we live together.
Cool.
We have conversations every day.
They're roommates.
Glorified roommate. No. No, I mean, the conversations that we have, it always ties in with our business, We always talk about our relationship. There's always a topic about our kids and giving them the space, right, to talk about what their day was like.
Especially watching you guys interact with your kids. Like, I like that parenting style. Like, it's very open, honest. Like, it's really cool. I like it.
I mean, it's not easy. I honestly, I didn't know what it was going to look like, being able to have the kids in our place of business. But it is what it is, right? And that's why we built this place. And I think, honestly, I'm going to be honest and transparent. I did have a real, resistance to that, like what professional is supposed to look like. And then do we allow the kids in here? But the bottom line is we were having kids as we were starting the business, right? Like we mentioned this before, where at our grand opening, we found out that we were pregnant that day.
Yeah.
And so we really didn't have an option, right? Just to continue, just to keep going, and it evolved. And our kids, shout out to our kids too. They're so resilient, and
yes, for sure.
We drag them all over the place with us, and we're so grateful that they are flexible. Sometimes they come along kicking and screaming, but that is what it is. But yeah, I really had a hard time with that image of
that's not the norm, right?
Yeah. Right. And
but that's one of the things I pride ourselves on, is that we're not the norm, right? Or we can redefine norm, right? Or perspective, right? Norm is in the eyes of the beholder, if you will. But what I like about having the kids around, though, because actually that's funny you mentioned that, because I always wanted our kids around, especially in the environment that I'm in. I feel like it provides an opportunity for them to just be themselves and be active. Like, it's funny because even when, Isaac was what, 3, right? When he was here. And Skylar, 3, right? 3 going on 4, I think.
Yes, 3 going on 4.
And, Skylar was a baby, obviously, but, Isaac would be climbing up and down the cage, right?
Yeah.
And up and down the ladder and all of the different equipment that we have here. And he'd walk across the kettlebells on the top, right? Or he'd make his own little
American Ninja Warrior.
Yeah, of course.
Nice.
Yeah, of course.
And, I would just let him go because I just admired his creativity, his athleticism, and, it gave me so much education on how important it is to move. And how innate it is for us as human beings to move, and how much we create an environment outside that inhibits that. And I feel like we learn so much through our children, if we provide that space for that, right?
Yeah.
Because they haven't been touched or influenced by society or norms, so like they just it's free range chickens,
Well, that's exactly what they do. We want them to be free range, and in a sense, watching them learn through different patterns, like Skylar, learning from these different neurodevelopmental patterns, watching her right here in the office, as I'm working with patients, I'm like, oh my gosh, I can use this with my patient, right? And I don't know if anybody else is doing that, but that's what I was doing, and it just pieced everything together, as I'm educating my student, I'm seeing this live, right? And I don't think I would have had, an ability to grow as much within my profession if we didn't have the kids around. That's just my perspective on that.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, something simple as, when Skylar was one going on 2, she would climb this cage. We have a huge cage. I know you folks can't see it in the camera. But we have a huge cage where our patients work out on. But she would climb herself to the very top, and our clients would be like, oh my gosh, is she okay?
Is this okay?
It's okay. Right. And it definitely gave me, the space to allow her. And she never once, she gets hurt. Yes.
Yeah, there was this one time.
She does. But if she doesn't know that we're worried about it, she's in her own little creative world, just being her own free monkey. Right. And and if you look at all the plants, she named all of our plants.
Oh,
wow. Or she'll sneak into my facial, and she'll.
All of a sudden, you feel tiny hands.
No, and then she'll climb into where my towels are, and just sit there the whole time, while I'm doing someone's facial. But it really has been a blessing to be able to share this with them, and for them to share. To be able to watch them growing up, because most parents, don't get to spend that much time with their kids during the day, and we're very grateful that we can. So, thank you for bringing that
I think it's great you guys have the kids here, because ultimately, isn't that what we all want? Just to be present and be with the people that we care about, and you guys created something that allows that.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. What about you, Luanna?
What was the question? I remember. I was surprised that you guys are high school sweethearts.
Oh.
Which is unheard of. Unheard of.
Pretty rare.
Because, like David and Dara, they're not that much older than me and Kevin.
We're a lot older.
They're not that much older at all.
Like 12 years.
And so,
Kevin, I think.
Yeah.
Is it?
I think so.
I'm 30.
No, we're a little bit less.
I think it's 11 then.
Yes, 10.
Yeah.
Well, they're not that much older than me, I should say. I just wanted to include Kevin because he's 30 now. But like the people in our age group, our cohort, they either got married right out of high school and now they're divorced, or they're like perpetually single because they just like never outgrew like having fun or stuff like that.
Sure.
And so I get to witness you guys like putting in work, like relationship work.
Definitely, yeah.
So
well, thank you.
Yeah.
Oh, and thanks for that feedback.
Because yes, it is. Yeah. There are things that we still learn about each other.
Oh, every day.
Every day.
Yeah.
But they didn't get married right out of high school, so I'll give you guys that.
No, absolutely not. That was just funny.
Yeah.
Actually, 'cause we didn't get married until about 11 years.
I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it wasn't because I wasn't really sure.
I did ask him when we were 18.
Awkward silence.
I asked him to get married when we were 18. Yeah.
But I mean, we're very much independent, independent thinkers, and our kids are very much the same way. Not that I say that out loud, right? But we really wanted to make sure that the kind of wedding, for example, that we wanted was something that was what we were responsible for, right? As much as possible, right? At that moment, and we saved up for it. We put a goal. I would say that's one of our first goals that we actually did, together.
Our wedding.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because that was something that we had on paper. And it was so funny. We met up with financial, advisor, right? In our teens, which is unheard of, by the way. I didn't realize we're always thinking ahead, you and I, right? Wanting to make things better.
Yeah.
So
well, and also we didn't go to the same high school, right? I went to an all-girls high school.
I went to an all-boys,
all-boys high school, and we had a journal that we would write to each other, right? And actually, in our journal, because we knew college was coming up, and we knew we were going to go away to college, and we knew that there was there was no chance that we were going to end up in the same college because you were getting athletic scholarship,
correct. Yeah.
And I was going to aviation school at the time. But we wrote down, right, because we didn't want to be apart, we created D&D Inc. And, we had totally forgot about that. And it was D&D Inc. And there was really we didn't have any details about the business, but it was just we didn't ever want to be apart.
We wanted
That's literally how I refer to you guys to Sarah. I'm like, oh, D&D day,
Oh, that's funny.
D&D message.
Yeah.
We literally manifested something while we were in high school that, we wanted to be together, right?
Like always. Yeah.
Even within our business, within our lives, right? So, yeah. Well, that's funny.
Yeah.
Thanks for bringing that up, guys.
I didn't expect you folks to say that.
That was unexpected.
Well.
Now, one of the questions that I'm going to bring up is something that we're going to be starting to ask routinely with a lot of our guests, right? And I know some of these questions might feel like it's the same question over and over, but really we're wanting to get intricate details, like specifically, and it can be anything, right? It can be something tech related, it can be supplement related, anything. Okay, fair game. But what optimizes, or how do you optimize your now?
Well, supplementation for me has always been a thing ever since like high school. I think my dad got me into that, and it's just kind of progressed from there. But I think, recently, especially over the last few years, like things have been tough at times, and like you can't always maintain 100% optimization, right? So it's a system that's worked for me. What I kind of started doing, because I essentially have like 3 pillars, like foundational pillars. Nutrition, exercise, and like some sort of rest recovery, right? And like, for example, if I know like I have a busy week coming up and I'm gonna sacrifice on the sleep part, I never allow the other 2 pillars to like dip below adequate levels. So I always try to make sure I at least have 2 things to kind of stand on during those tough times. Usually sleep's the one that gets pushed down. But then, I'll make sure I take my supplements, right? I'll make sure I'll exercise, I'll go for another walk with my dog at night for another hour or something, or use the X3, like just being very like having like intentions behind what I'm doing, and, just, I guess, trying to compensate for it as much as I can. But system generally has worked well for me. Like I noticed that if 2 pillars start going down, like it's not a good time. But I can function, like without. I don't need terrible amount of sleep, But yeah, I got to make sure the other 2 are up there so I don't like crash and burn.
Yeah.
So Kevin brings up the use of an equipment called the X3, and this is a system that was created by Dr. John Janquish, and a brilliant biomedical engineer that created this system with a platform, different resistance bands, and a bar. And I know his target was really to address osteoporosis. That was his main thing. I believe his franchise is called OsteoStrong. Really awesome stuff, addressing bone density. But what's amazing is that this X3 system really creates that support, really building up the muscular tissue that surrounds, and still having, osteoporosis in the back, right? Really addressing it, but not in a direct way. right? The influence of just getting more hormonal responses, right, for growth factors and anti-aging, really.
Yeah.
And the brilliant thing about it is that you can get so much work done in a short period of time.
It's very efficient.
Right? And the program that he created in conjunction with this brilliant invention, will revolve around just several exercises, right? Every day. Usually, I think in the beginning, there's a period of rest.
Yeah, and then it's like Monday through Saturday.
And then they start bringing in Monday through Saturday, right? But I mean, workouts are relatively 10 minutes, which is great. And you're pushing to failure to get that appropriate hormonal response. And so it fits in perfectly with, a schedule of Kevin's where he has a lot of, a lot of things on his plate.
Yeah, it's easy just to do it at night, 15 minutes and boom, you're done.
Yeah, and it gives you a nice boost in energy too, which is why, he looks at the nighttime, with doing work. Yeah. So, and it fits in really good with his schedule. But supplement-wise too, it's an interesting discussion, because that's actually what brought him here too, in conjunction with, the coffee.
Yeah,
and,
it pretty much goes hand in hand. Yeah.
But as a side note, like what specific supplementation would you say at the moment?
The new thing for me is athletic greens.
Oh, I have really noticed you coming in more with that. Yeah.
It's because I bought a subscription for it. I don't know. After a while, there's like supplement overload. Like there's so many different things, it's like, what's something quick and easy that like I don't have to think about and just like has a lot of the stuff I'm looking for.
Right.
And that was kind of on the table. It has been for a couple of years. And I don't know. Eventually, I just decided to pull the trigger. And funny enough, Sarah's like, oh, can I have some?
Yeah.
So now we have 2 packs.
Oh, very
That's
good.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
That's really good.
Yeah. My mom gifted us a pack last year.
Mm-hmm.
And then after that, I've always kind of wanted it. But I do notice a big difference. Like for example, last night, I knew it was going to be a long night. Actually, it's been a really long weekend. So I sometimes I forget to eat. I'm like too zoned in. I just forget.
No, that happens.
And I'm like, oh wow, it's been 10 hours and I haven't had any food. So, those situations will happen. Obviously, I'll go eat. But then I'm like, well, I can't cram all this food down now. So like, what am I going to do? Like supplementation is usually the answer at that point. So yeah, but I've so far really enjoying it.
Yeah,
nice.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And something that Kevin brings up that I'm sure we'll talk about in another podcast is you seem to be doing your best work in the evening.
Yes, for sure.
Yeah. And, we kind of talked about how we're kind of different in that way. Like Luanna loves to wake up before the sun.
Yeah.
Kevin loves to do his work when the sun has already gone down.
Yeah.
After I walk the dog, had dinner, and sit down.
Yeah. And David and I are very much what
we're right in the middle. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like
what Dr.
Bruce
would call bears. Yeah.
Dara's mentioning Dr. Bruce's book, right, on chronotypes.
Yeah.
Right.
It's an interesting book.
Yeah.
The Power of When.
The Power of When. Yeah.
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 Awesome book.
So I'm sure we can talk about that more.
Yeah, on a different
on a different podcast.
For sure. What about you, Luanna? What optimizes your now?
So I have no method, unlike Kevin. I have this and this.
Oh,
You gotta do this. No. All right, I'm set.
Mine is like more loosey goosey. Like I call myself an airhead all the time. But physically, obviously we have the benefit of coming here. Like I love the pulse. The pulse machine that's my jam. Like the 7.8. Like because I feel like I need a lot of grounding because I'm so airhead.
I wouldn't call it airhead. Like your brain is always turned on.
Yeah. You're a free thinker, actually.
Yeah.
Well, okay. Thank you. I will accept that. Thank you. But like the Schumann resonance, like I feel like I always feel the best after that one. So I don't drive, and I love being able to walk everywhere, like putting my feet on the ground. Like I love that. But small, I also take small moments to myself. Like, I don't know if you guys see, but I go up to the plants at work,
I do.
I do that. Embarrassing.
No. But even your rocks and your crystals that are around you too.
Yeah.
Like if I feel like maybe I'm the one that needs a little bit more attention. Like I'll grab it and I'll be like, oh, hi. Like whether it's a leaf or like one of the crystals that's around. I do that at home too. I mean, they've seen my bedroom. Like I'm just surrounded by crystals.
It's really cool, actually. Like, I was very shocked when you saw that.
Yeah. But yeah.
I believe it's reciprocal, you know, because I notice you do that. And I think it's great, though. I mean, you know, this exchange of energies, you know, and I think it's something that we underestimate as energetic beings, you know, here.
Absolutely.
And, you know, we can attribute to the growth of our plants, you know, to the kind of attention that we
seem to be doing quite well in here.
No,
Since Luanna has been here,
it's a jungle.
Pretty amazing, yeah.
It's a jungle, and I love it.
I warned Dara that if there's a plant that I want and it doesn't fit in my room, it's coming here.
It's coming here.
and she did. She brought one that does not fit in her room, and we love having it here. No, but really, you know, I appreciate you giving the attention to our plants, which are just as important, right? Because they clean the air and they bring good energy. Yeah.
Thank you.
They love it here too. So
yes,
They do.
yes.
For sure. But yeah, you know what optimizes me, at least, is the starting, not even just with the affirmations, even after that, like when we go into the kitchen and we're starting our day there. What's interesting is that like we go through the motions of making our coffee, cooking the breakfast for the kids, and it's such an automation.
It is.
That we're doing all of this, but we're actually literally talking about what are we doing today, right? Who's picking up the kids, right? Who's dropping off the kids? But also like, oh, what are we going to talk about today, right? What are we going to be working on our post, or what are we going to be doing a story on, or who are you seeing today? Like all of these conversations are happening, or even we're talking about, okay, so who's coming over this weekend, even though it's Monday, right? And so these are things that optimizes me because it gets my brain, you know, kind of moving within a schedule. And you know, there's so many schedules that are going on within all of our lives, but you know, in my brain at least, I'm trying to balance out, right, and trying to figure out, you know, in addition to my real brain here, Luanna, is you know, just really, you know, creating an efficient schedule, right? I have my music, I have this, right? And there's so many other things that, you know, are on the plate with learning or education type of things that I'm integrated with. And I just want to make sure that that we're very efficient on how we're approaching it, making sure that I am mindful about the time that I spend with my kids as well as with you, right? And so that can't happen unless we're doing what we're doing every morning. And I feel like that creates an optimization. It might sound very stressful now that I'm talking about this out loud, but you know, what I'm feeling is the connection part.
Yeah,
because I feel like I feel like if I was to put a visual to it, it would be like us moving at the same, you know, same wavelength. Moment.
And you know, you and I can definitely tell when we're not doing that. Right, when the week gets so crazy and we're not touching base totally at least 3 times a day.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we are, you know, we are definitely off.
Yeah.
Right, when we're not in communication with each other constantly. Yeah, and that's what optimizes me too, is our constant connecting with each other. Right, we do this thing at night where in my head I feel like it's more powerful if I'm imagining and manifesting something, but if I tell him what I'm imagining and manifesting, it's more powerful if 2 people imagine it and manifest it.
Sure.
So, you know, at night we'll tell each other what we're manifesting and kind of work together to manifest them together. And that's really what optimizes my now is my connection with you. Yeah, I mean, we have so many opportunities in the day because we work and we're roommates also. But it really is, it's important for me to be continuously connected with you and, check in on how you're feeling, for me to be able to share with you how I'm feeling. Yeah, that's important for me.
It's a hard question to just answer with one answer, right?
What
that optimizes your now.
I feel like it changes every day, though.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
Definitely seasonal.
Seasonal. I love it. For me, it's like, what part of my, life? Like,
that's a good point.
Because like even just the music part, right? That optimizes my now too. But what also is another thing that optimizes it too is still that connection with you, with the music, like you dancing hula, right? As well as me playing. Like that just elevates it, right? So it's just, there's so many ways to answer this question. And I know it's very open, but it was meant purposely, that way.
Yeah. But going back to what Kevin had said, sleep is definitely
sleep is underrated.
Need it. I definitely need it.
And finding out, what the length is, but more importantly, what the quality looks like. Yeah. Like, and how can we get that quality of sleep, right? Which can be a totally different podcast on its own.
Yeah.
I mean, so many have been done, but we've experimented with a number of different things because we are biohackers, right? So, we help a lot of our clients with it because it's a super, super important thing, to help us recover, right? And come in, with a fresh mind, have all of our cells functioning at its most optimal, right? But
which, especially for us females, can definitely change, right? According to where we are at on our cycle, where we're at in the month. So optimizing can definitely change from week to week, day to day. Yeah.
Well, thank you guys for being our first guest.
This was really fun. I hope you folks had fun too. We can definitely do another one.
That'd be fun.
That would be
talk
great.
About the experimentations that we do here.
That's for sure.
Yeah. Okay. Well, until next time, thank you for joining us.
Mahalo for listening to Optimize Your Now podcast, brought to you by Nauupono Wellness, where health optimization is through connection. You can come follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and of course, YouTube at Nauupono Wellness.
Up and coming.
Yes.
Mahalo again.
Mahalo.
Aloha.